Welcome everyone to the lecture series. In today's class, we are going to learn about plant diseases. Plant
Plants provide us with food, materials, and breathable air. We depend on plants for our survival. But plants can catch diseases just like we do. When there's an outbreak of plant diseases, it is important to find out which pathogen is causing it. Identifying the pathogen helps us to stop it spreading. Thousands of different pathogens cause plant diseases, including bacteria, viruses, fungi, and protists. Narrowing it down could be tricky. Because of this pathogen, plants often get some signs and symptoms. That signs and symptoms are referred as disease. So, sign of a plant disease or physical evidence of the pathogen, and symptoms are referred as the response of a plant to that particular disease causing agent. Different pathogens can cause similar symptoms. For example, you may notice some of the leaves have white color dots. In some cases, it will have a black dots. In some, the plant's leaves turned into yellow or dark brown in color. These are referred as the symptoms of diseases in infected plants. Plant diseases are classified into two types. One is referred as abiotic or non-infectious diseases. Another one is biotic or infectious diseases. First, we are going to see about abiotic. So, abiotic is a disease that is caused by the conditions external to the plant. In simple terms, the disease caused by non-living agents. They cannot spread from plant to plant, but they are very common and should be considered when assessing the health of any plants. For example, in this slide, you can able to view the picture of a plant. This plant is soybean. So this plant was affected due to the extreme cold temperature. Mostly soybean cotyledons are resilient to cold temperature, but in some cases these frost condition damage the survival is likely unless when they withstand the temperature for 30 degrees Celsius or below 30 degrees Celsius for several hours. Let's see another example. This picture also showing the soybean plants, but in this case the plant was affected by Sclerotinia, that is white mold fungus. So if this is a disease caused by the living organism. So when a living organism infect the plants, they are referred as plant pathogens. Plant pathogens can spread from plant to plant and may infect all types of plant tissues, including leaves, shoot, stem, cones, root, tubers, fruit, seeds, and vascular tissues. Like I already told, microorganisms to obtain their nutrition, they will depend on the plants. So at that time, they will infect the plants and these microorganism, that is the parasitic organism, causes the disease to the host. Here, plant is referred as host. So when they are causing disease to the host organism, that the organism which is causing disease is called as pathogen. Excess of nutrients or deficiency of nutrients, light, moisture, aeration, abnormality in soil condition, atmospheric impurities will also leads to the plant diseases. Let's see some of the common plant diseases caused due to this environmental factors. First one is black tip of mango. This is caused due to the sulfur oxide toxicity. So the excess production of sulfur oxide in the plants turns the tip of the mango into black color. Next one is Chiara disease of rice. This is due to the deficiency of zinc. Third one is fifth tail of cauliflower. This is caused due to the molybdenum deficiency. Next one you can able to see in your day-to-day life. So many of us can see potato with block black or hollow gaps, and sometimes we can sense our apple have a bitter pit. That is due to the calcium deficiency. Let's see more about the disease cycle. The disease cycle are comprised of three components which should be balanced to cause a disease. The three components are host plant, virulent pathogen, and the favorable condition. So if these three components present at the same time, a disease will occur if a susceptible host plant is in intimate association with a virulent plant pathogen under favorable condition. This concept is represented by the shaded portion of the diagram. When there is a high degree of overlap, there will be a moderate to high amount of diseases. It is important to remember that within each of these three components, host, pathogen, and environment, there are numerous variables that, that may affect both the incidence and severity of the diseases. These variables include genetic diversity, biology, and life cycle of the host plant and pathogen and environmental conditions. In order for a disease to develop, a pathogen must be present and successfully invade plant host tissues and cells. The chain of events involved in disease developments include inoculation, penetration, infection, incubation, reproduction, and survival. Inoculation describes the introduction of a plant pathogen to the host. Penetration involves in the creation of wound sites and a natural plant opening such as stomata and hydrothodes facilitate the entrance of some plant pathogens. Infection occurs when the pathogen invades the plant tissue and establishes a parasitic relationship between itself and the plant. Condition is sometimes referred as unfavorable condition or waiting period. Once the pathogen inside in the plant tissues, they may undergo an incubation period and remain latent for a period of time before initiating diseases. Next stage is reproduction. Here, the plant pathogens can reproduce sexually and asexually. It depends on the pathogen. The last one is survival. In survival, plant pathogens have evolved so they can survive prolonged period of unfavorable weather conditions. For example, brown spot is a fungal pathogen that produces spores that are dark in coloration, which reduces the amount of UV light penetration and preventing cell death. Any step, if in any step is disturbed in the cycle, the disease will be less severe or failure to develop. Knowing and understanding the disease cycle for a particular disease is very helpful in managing the diseases. See some of the common signs and symptoms of the plant disease. Like I already told, a sign of a plant disease is a physical evidence of the pathogen. Here, I enlisted some of the signs of both the bacterial, fungal, and viral disease caused by both abiotic and biotic factors. In this picture, you can able to spot a yellow and brown color in the leaves. This is commonly called as leaf rust. If we see this rust formation in stem, we will call it as stem rust. And as I already told, we have seen the picture of the white mold fungi causing sclerotonia in corn. Another one is powdery mildew that affects many of our plants, flowers, vegetables, and fruits. Powdery mildew is an easy one to identify. If we see any plant leaves, the upper part of the plant leaves may have some of the visible white powder substances. That is referred as powdery mildew. An example for symptoms are bad eye spot on berries, damping of seedling, leaf spot, chlorosis. Signs of bacterial disease are in the left side of the picture. You can see some of the watery particles on the surface of the fruits. That is referred as bacterial ooze. So this bacterial ooze is the sign of the plant that is affected by the bacterial disease. So some of the common symptoms of the bacterial disease we can able to witness in our day-to-day life is the canker. Canker is commonly referred as citrus canker because in some of the citrus fruits we can able to spot the yellow color and brown color spots on the surface of the canker. Next one is viral diseases. If a virus infected a plant, we can't able to identify any earlier sign due to caused by that viral pathogen. Only after the formation of symptoms, we can able to identify the viral diseases. So the most common symptom is mosaic leaf pattern. In this picture, you can able to see the mosaic type formation in the leaves. This is the most common example for viral diseases. Hope you can able to learn a lot about the plant diseases and types of plant diseases through this lecture. Let's see in the next